Hello, it's Jen here. It is September 2nd, and it's 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And I'm here to just chat with you about what's going on in your world with your book, with your editing, your writing, your anything, marketing your book, talking about your book, promoting it, anything that you're in the mood to chat about. So I see that we already have some viewers here. So if you're here, just drop in the comments where you're coming in from and what questions you might have. I know that we are in a very crazy weather situation pretty much all over the United States. There seems to be madness occurring. So if you are in one of those areas where you're either being hit by fires or floods or anything like that, I hope you are staying safe and healthy and all of that stuff because it is crazy around these parts. But for who is here, because we're broadcasting on Facebook and on YouTube, so you might be coming in from one place or another. So, oh, I see Pam coming in from West Virginia. Pam, how are you doing? How is the weather in West Virginia? I would imagine, well, I don't know. I was going to say, I would imagine you might have gotten hit with the remnants of Ida that just came up the East Coast. I hope you are safe where you are because I'm baffled by the weather currently. But so this is so for anyone who is new to the Publisher Purpose Author Lab, which is hosted inside a Facebook group, but as I mentioned, we're also broadcasting on YouTube as well. So you might not even know that the Author Lab Facebook group exists, but it does. So if you want to check it out on Facebook, you are absolutely welcome to come on over and do that. But I do these kind of ask me anythings. I try to do them like every other week or so to just keep a connection point with you, to be able to answer literally any questions you could possibly have related to your book. So, whether it's marketing, strategy, publishing, editing, writing, truly anything that orbits around a book, I am here to answer your questions on. So I have zero agenda other than whoever is here and available to come on and chat, and I stay for 20 or 30 minutes or so, and we can talk about anything that's on your mind and help brainstorm something. If you want to share a link or anything, I'm happy to look at stuff. So that is what the format of this is. It's really just ask me anything, like truly. I will put up a banner that even says that. Let's see. All right. Wow, that is quite large and obtrusive, but all right, let's fix that. It's a little too big. Ask me anything about. Let's see if this is going to be. It's a little bit smaller. All right, let's see. I just saw a comment from Pam. A lot of rain yesterday, but sunny today. That's good. Yeah, it is gorgeous here today in Connecticut, like absolutely gorgeous. But yesterday was pretty insane. I live in a very flood prone area, so my backyard is essentially a swamp right now. But that is honestly not that much out of the ordinary. But the cold front that moved in after this rain has made the temperatures drop, and there's no humidity, so it's actually very nice here. At least in the northern part of Connecticut, I know many people in the southern part of Connecticut got hit with this rain significantly worse than I did up here. So I'm just hoping that everyone who is in the path of just all of this craziness is doing well. So Pam, what are you working on? So tell me, if you don't mind, just a little bit about your book, and maybe you've already started it, maybe you're thinking about it. Just tell me a little more of what you're working on. We can try to brainstorm some things here for you. And then whoever we have who is on the Facebook page who is here and watching, let me know you are here, because the more I know, the better, because then we can chat about what's on your mind as well. Don't really, as I said, I don't really have there's really not much of an agenda other than answering whatever might be on your mind. And I also know that Facebook takes a little bit of time to kind of notify people that I am live, so you might not even realize I'm live yet. So you could be watching this on the replay, and if you are watching on replay, you are welcome to drop a comment in the wherever you see this video, drop a comment below it, and I can address your questions after the fact too. There's certainly, as long as you comment on it, I should see it, and if you want to tag me in it, you're welcome to tag me in it too. That'll guarantee that I see it. But I see that we do have people who are kind of coming on in, so this is great. All right, so Pam, you are working on a guidebook and you're in the editing stages, thinking of self-publishing on Amazon. All right, good. What kind of guidebook? Like, what is it? What does it look like, and where in the editing process are you? Are you in the early part of the editing process? Are you kind of moving through it already, and are you feeling good and comfortable with the editing options that you have? And who is your audience? There's another self-publishing platform other than Amazon. It's called Ingram Spark. I don't know if you have come across them or not yet, but Ingram Spark has some more abilities to kind of customize the distribution for your book rather than just solely going through Amazon, and they tend to have better printing quality. So, if you have any questions on that, you can certainly kind of look into Ingram Spark a little bit more, just as a potential alternative to Amazon's KDP platform, which is perfectly sufficient. But Ingram Spark has a few better options. And who do we have coming in from Facebook? Anybody working on anything? It looks like Pam, you might have gotten kicked out of YouTube, so you may not be responding. So I will wait until you return. But I know we have some folks watching on Facebook. So who's here? What's going on? What's on your mind? Even if you don't even have much to say, just at least say hello. I would love to know that you're here. Pam, Christian Living. I write for a career and am doing my own final edit. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Yeah, so, if you're working on a guidebook, I would definitely, and if you're doing your own final edit, I would imagine you're probably doing a line and a copy edit. And the fact that you're a career writer, that obviously puts you in a much better position to have things grammatically correct from the start. You may want to still consider having a proofreader come in and do just kind of a last final set of eyes, just to make sure that you don't miss any typos. Because again, if you're a career writer, you are probably quite familiar with the pain of thinking that something is on the page because you're reading what you think is there, but not actually what is there. That seems to happen to a lot of people, myself included. I'm just trying to pull up Facebook on the other window because I can see some folks are coming in from Facebook, but I cannot see your names today. So I just need to. Aha, it's Marita and Parlay. I haven't seen you in a while. Oh, how great is that? Awesome. And Ange. Oh, it's angelic. I love it. All right, cool. All right, so we got some folks in here. A little split between YouTube and Facebook again. So so Marita, I know a little bit of what you're working on. Parlay, I have not seen you in a bit. So how are you doing with your book and your publishing? Because I know that you were exploring a Christian publishing path, so maybe that would be of interest for Pam to know because she's working on a Christian living guidebook. So that's kind of cool. Parlay, you were in Facebook jail. How did you end up in Facebook jail? Facebook jail is really becoming a more common thing, I'm noticing. We have gotten our profiles suspended, if you will, for being able to comment, which I don't think it makes sense. Like if you're we're not spamming people. We're in a private group that you've agreed to be in. So I don't know why it knocks us out, but we haven't been like fully in Facebook jail. We've been like threatened with Facebook jail, but it looks like you were straight up in jail. That stinks, Parlay. So yeah, let me know how your process is coming along, and then angelic, what are you working on? I would love to kind of hear a little bit more, please. So yeah, so if you're just joining, this is very much just an open conversation to answer any questions that you have around your book. I try to do them at least every other week. Sometimes I do them weekly. And it's just anything around book publishing, whether it's writing, marketing, editing, strategy, truly anything you could think of. I'm here to kind of provide some guidance and just kind of help. Obviously, As someone who is a book publisher for a living, we serve and help a lot of authors, but we also know that there's a lot of authors that do not have access to the resources needed to be able to work with a company in order to get their book produced. And so I like to come on and do this just as a way to just continue to give back, because I just know that there's so many good ideas in the world, and you all have such brilliant kind of plans with what you want to do, that if I can hop on every other week or every week to just kind of provide some free guidance, that's what I'm here for. So that is my entire goal, is to just ask me anything. All right, let's see. So still in the editing process. Hopefully by the end of next month I'll get it back so I can correct whatever's needed. That is awesome. I like it. That's really fantastic. Oh, Jill. Hey, Jill. Could you explain a little more about how to better use BookFunnel? So, I don't know how you're currently trying to use it. So, the phrase of better use it, but BookFunnel works really well for ebooks in my experience. And we have a lot of authors who use it for ebooks in particular. So, what's good about it is that it allows you to yeah, you're giving away a free download, still hoping for more interaction and engagement. So what happens a lot with books is that if you're selling books in bulk, typically you're selling print books, right? So like there's a whole, that's the easy thing, like you buy a bunch of books and then you sell the bunch of books in bulk. And then we often don't have a way to sell ebooks in bulk. So what BookFunnel really kind of helps do is really drive the ebooks in bulk. So is that how you are currently using it? And I see that you said you did a free download there as well. Did you, like, what were you kind of seeing as the reactions and responses for the free download? Because it's really it like, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of other ways that you can use BookFunnel. And actually, let me make myself a note, Jill, because I'm pretty sure we have a BookFunnel specific document that Bailey created, and I will have her send that over to you, because it might include some more information that could be helpful for a chapter only. Yeah, and is it allowing you to collect people's email addresses? Honestly, you know who I think might be using it? I think Kathy. Kathy might be using BookFunnel too. So we can always find out from her how she's doing it. Let's see. A few people use this and got their free chapter. And so are you then kind of posting that on all of like your social media channels, giving people the option to kind of go there and get that free chapter? You're able to collect people's names. Yeah, it's a really cool program in a lot of ways. Okay, so Ange, what are we saying? Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, it took me a minute. Now I know. All right, cool. All right, so since we met at NGLCC, I picked up my pen again to write a book. I had a publishing deal when I was 17, but I didn't sign it. I'm currently writing a queer romance novel, 53,000 words, and it's going through my second write edit process. Oh, that's awesome. Good for you. The publishing landscape has changed so much, so I'm curious what the process is for finding a literary agent interested in queer content versus self-publishing. Ange, it's really tricky. Honestly, the whole publishing industry is tricky in general. In your case, if you are writing a queer romance novel, if I were in your position, I would go to the publishers that specialize in queer romance. So there is a organization called the Golden Crown Literary Society. I spoke at their conference about a month ago, and they focus on women loving women in it's not exclusively fiction, but it's very fiction focused. I was doing a workshop on nonfiction and writing memoirs, so it's definitely heavy fiction focused. I would go there. I would look to see who their because there's like bold stroke books. There's a bunch of like very specific publishers that are in the kind of queer romance space. I would start there. I would not try to go to a literary agent yet or anything. I would go there first and see if any of them are accepting submissions, because it typically says right on the website if they are or are not accepting submissions. And then if you look through I want to say it's like gcls.org, I believe is what it is. If you start to kind of look through who their members are, you'll probably see, like, if you read queer romance, you'll also see a lot of familiar names, because there's a lot of people who are serial fiction writers who are members of that organization. So you could just kind of poke around and then, just kind of see. And one of the things that, here's a tip for anybody looking for a more traditional deal. The big traditional publishing is very, very difficult, like very difficult. So when we're talking about the Simon and Schusters, the Penguin Random Houses, the Macmillans, when we're talking about those publishers, it's a very difficult path, and it does require an agent. They do not take unagented manuscripts. But when we're talking about niche publishing, like this one in particular, what you might want to do is take a look at some of the other romance novels that you've seen and look at the acknowledgments or the acknowledgments page and see if they thank an agent, because they might. Because most of the time, if there's an agent involved, 9 out of 10 times, there is an acknowledgement to that agent within a acknowledgments page of a book. So if you're really trying to figure out who someone might have worked with, go look at someone else's book, find it, and then reach out to that agent specifically. And you'll get a book polls kind of explains why your book is suitable for their catalog of things and etc. But I do believe that a lot of them, especially in the queer romance space, I don't think that they require agents. So I would start there and kind of work your way down. But GCLS is like the best resource possible for all things in this space. Let's see. Okay, so Jill is asking, how often should I promote this without being annoying? Well, it's a mixed bag. So Jill, with your book, you have your kind of 10 steps. I'm assuming you're using it for, I'll be right here, hold on, or I'm right here. Ooh. So I will plug your book. So Jill is in the comments here. This is her new book. It came out in the end of June. I'm right here. 10 ways to get help for hoarding and chronic disorganization. So if you have someone in your life who could use this, that's a great book. Jill, what link are you using for the BookFunnel? Can you just drop that in the comments too, so people can check it out if they want to get a download a chapter, also so they can kind of see how to use this. But I would probably, if I were you, I would take, because you have 10 ways, you don't want to give away all of the things, but you could break it out over like 10 weeks and drop information. So like drop maybe a story one day that's not in the book, and then say, to learn more, hear more, go download my free chapter of my new book. And then another day on the week you could give something that's like a really practical, tangible tip, again, that may not actually be from the book itself. So you have obviously like a good amount of you have 10 tips already, but you probably have 700 other tips. So what I would do is I would kind of break it out twice a week to do something that's story based and something that's a tip. And each time that you put that out there on all of your platforms, I would have the link that you just put in here for your free chapter. And then that way you're not just like, hey, go buy my book. Hey, go buy my book. Because nobody wants, and I know you don't do that, I see your stuff, but nobody, like, people don't appreciate when they're constantly just being like sold to. But when we're wrapping it into just kind of tips of how to take control over, in your case, over chronic disorganization, or, sharing a story, share client stories, share, obviously make them so people can't be identified. And I know that, do something like that, because I think that could be really fantastic, because then people are going to see and they're like, oh, wow, like that's really interesting, or that's really awesome, or whatever it happens to be. So I think that's where I would personally be focused, because then that should, in theory, start to see an uptick of more people who are downloading it. We've got 15 people doing, so that was nice, but 1,500 would be better. I agree. I totally agree. So if you can put together some type of content strategy, which you can certainly go Google, just type in content calendar, content strategy. I know, like Kathy Nelson's September is Save Your Photos Month. So, and I don't know, I wish I knew the URL off the top of my head, but you can type in Save Your Photos Month. And so, Jill, there might be a way that you can kind of tie into that, because I would imagine you post something about, hoarding, chronic disorganization as it relates to saving photos. So it's a matter of thinking about, how do we kind of leverage things that are already happening? And so, thank you, Jill, the photo managers. It's about leveraging what other people are doing. So if you go search for awareness months, there's like 85 different things for every single month at this point. Like almost every day of the month there is some kind of observance, if not multiple observances per day. So, and I don't know off the top of my head what September is mostly known for. Actually, I feel like adoption might have something to do with September. I know May is National Foster Care Month, October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, May is also Mental Health Awareness Month, February is Black History Month, June is Pride Month. So like there are a ton of things to wrap our stuff around. Oh, September is Disaster Preparedness Month. Too bad the Northeast was not better prepared for said disaster that came swooping in last night. But yes, so if there is a way to tie what you're doing into some kind of month that is already happening and people are already talking about, you can go in and grab hashtags that people are using. So, and I'm not suggesting it'd have to be a little bit more aligned, but even with yours, Jill, especially Disaster Preparedness Month, there's probably something that you can tie into and how you help people with their home organizing. I can't imagine there's not a way that this ties in. So I'm not suggesting using like hashtag Ida because that would be too broad. But if there's a way to kind of bring it in, we have to be kind of looking at what's trending. So looking at Twitter or Instagram and just kind of seeing. I tend to like looking at Twitter because it's more real time to see what's trending and just see what hashtags people are using and then using those hashtags on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, etc. And so you're kind of, so somebody might be looking for information about Disaster Preparedness Month, and then they're like, oh, like what is this? Who's this person talking about how to preserve my insert anything here in the case of a disaster or an emergency? And then your book is there. You have your link for the free download, and voila! Now you're getting your book in front of people that you were not getting your book in front of previously, because that's part of what we're trying to do. We already have our baked in audiences. We have clients that we work with, we have friends, we have coworkers, colleagues, whomever they might be. But what we want to be doing is getting past that next level. So the first round of a book launch is typically engaging literally everybody that you know, anybody that will help you. But then beyond that, we have to think that next rung out. Like, how do we reach that next rung of people? And by putting out content that is related to some of these awareness months and such can really be helpful. So I would start with looking at a content calendar, see what awareness months there are, and just start plugging in. And it does not have to be complicated in the least. And Jill, if I'm not mistaken, I think we might actually have a template that we can send you. And just for the record, we currently work with Jill, which is why I'm throwing out all these additional resources at her. I'll see if we can find that. Actually, Bailey is out of the office for the next couple of days, dealing with some storm situations that happened last night. So it probably won't be for a couple of days, but we'll get to you early next week. But I think we do have it's like a spreadsheet that's just kind of like, what are the months? What can we put in? So if you just start thinking through what that could be, you could think about doing it in the form of like a series, right? So it could be, here's a 3-part series on getting help with your chronic disorganization, and then just do over 3 weeks. And then again, story, tip, and there might be something else that you want to include in there. Maybe you include a video. Maybe you do include something that's just very self-promotional for the book. Maybe it's just you, could be you just reading a small passage from your book. It could just be reading a simple chapter anywhere in here, like, so you can be kind of mix up between video, photos, text, all those things. Hopefully this is helping. All right, let me scroll back up in the comments, make sure I didn't miss anything. Ange, awesome, thanks so much, super helpful. Good. And Ange, when you do go to the Golden Crown Literary Society website, if you want to be connected to them directly, please let me know. I know a number of the board members over there. We're actually a sponsor of the organization, so I'm happy to connect you if you see that it makes sense to be connected. And then you can just shoot me an email if you would like, which I know you have my email. And then if not, you can just go back to the website and you'll be able to find it easily. Because I know I can't put it in YouTube for some reason. I don't understand why. Let's see. I'm writing a memoir, narrating episodes that underpin values. Is it okay if I mention the values after the episode? Marita, I'm not sure. Let me think of what you might mean. I'm writing a memoir, narrating episodes that underpin the values. Is it okay if I mention the values after the episode? I think yes. I think I know what you're saying. So if you're writing your story, one of the big goals we have for writing our stories is to be sharing our lived experiences with other people so then they can see a path forward, feel less alone, any number of things like that. So it sounds like you're saying that you're writing your story and the story itself includes your values kind of inherently in there. And so beyond that, you're asking, does it make sense for you to then come back after and mention and be more specific about the values that you were hoping that they would extract? So if that is indeed what you were saying, then I think that you would be in great shape to do that. It's just a matter of thinking about, everyone takes away something different from a story. And so you could share your, just one chapter of your memoir with 20 different people. And every one of those 20 people is going to take away something different. And I found this actually really interesting in writing my memoir. I was actually talking to my neighbor the other day who recently read it. She had like a bunch of notes, and we were over and just kind of talking about it. And I said to her, I'm like, what is your biggest takeaway from having read my memoir? And her takeaway was the fear of repeating the same unhealthy cycle over and over again. And while that is 100% a theme in my book that is so clear and obvious, it is by far not the one that I was going into it thinking, let me make sure that my reader is instilled this particular information. Like, I had other things that I wanted people to take away. But everyone takes away something different based on their lived experiences. So if you have your story that you're writing and then you have those values that you're underpinning, and you want to make sure that there's specific things that they are taking away, I would include them, but I would write it in a way that feels broad and accessible. So that way you are not coming across like you are forcing this lesson learned on the reader, but you're allowing the reader to hear what you're saying, hear that specific lesson, and then from there kind of move through, kind of learning what other things they might be learning too. Because there's kind of like a universal truth that we're trying to capture when we're writing our stories. And even if we don't know what the universal truth is, it kind of organically surfaces in this process just by the way of the process. And then beyond that, there's those kind of more specific kind of takeaways that people have. So if you can find a balance where you're not pushing it or forcing it, but you're allowing the reader to take a little bit of it and explore more of how to apply this to themselves, that is going to be your best approach. So I would be thinking about what type of prompts might you ask them. It could be a writing prompt. It could be truly, honestly, it could be so many different things. So you want to, like, what can you be asking them or having them think about or reflect upon that will help them further extract the meaning of what your story was? Hopefully that makes sense. And yep, I have it. I assumed you had my email. Good. I'm glad that you're here, by the way. It's nice to, not that I can see you, but it's nice to know that you're here. Oh, let's see. Jill, right now I'm outlining 10 reasons to buy my book. One per week. We're on week 2. Oh, perfect. Perfect. And not only be thinking about, because with your target reader, as we've discussed, you have the people who need the book, and then you have the people who orbit the people who need the book. So I would make sure in your outlining of your reasons that you were hitting both of those audiences. So to get the person who feels like they need this book for themselves, or for the person who has someone in their life that needs the book. That's how I would approach it. All right. What? Who else has some questions going on in here? I love that those of you who are here split between Facebook and YouTube. I love that you are like coming with legitimate questions. I think this is fantastic. Because this is the type of stuff I love. I love just bouncing from topic to topic and answering whatever might be on your mind. But I'm happy to stay for a couple more minutes if there's a final question anyone might have. Anything? And let me ask, for those of you who are here, I do these, as I mentioned kind of at the top, and you might have missed that, but I try to do these at least every other week. And, sometimes I do them weekly. It really kind of depends, but I try to move them around different days, different times, just to be able to accommodate a lot of different time zones and a lot of people's scheduling issues. But do you have, would you have a preference? Like if I were to say, This is going to be every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Would that be easier for you to routinely show up for? Or is it actually better that I just kind of pick random days and times and you can catch the replay later? Curious if anyone has any thoughts. I'm happy to formalize this a little bit more because I've been doing this for pretty much the entire year and I just kind of go whenever I can fit it into my calendar well. But if it would help you be a little bit more on track, I'm happy to reconsider how I'm doing this. Jill, do you believe you should write on a schedule? Tell me more. So tell me more about writing on a schedule. Do you mean for like social media, for posting on a certain schedule? All right, and you're saying, all right, so Jill's saying random would be good for her. Parlay is saying schedule would be better for him. Pam, can you link the resources you mentioned? I remember BookFunnel, but there were a few others at the beginning. What was I talking about at the beginning? There was a couple of, I think we were really just focused on BookFunnel. There's a couple of internal documents sharing that I'll share with Jill because she works with us already. We can put the BookFunnel link. Actually, Jill's BookFunnel link is in the comments if you want to scroll. Oh, you know what? Pam, you're on YouTube. Jill, you're on Facebook. So you were not able to see her comment. So let me see. Oh, no, because I can't. Oh, my God. It's so, you know, this is probably not helpful, but this is the link to Jill's BookFunnel, I believe. Jill, correct me if I'm wrong. So if you want to screenshot this somehow, then you can kind of explore how Jill's using it, and then you can kind of look even a little bit further because BookFunnel is an incredible tool. Like it's a really awesome tool. All right, like actual writing. So you're okay. Yes, Jill. Yes. So if you are thinking about writing a book, writing on a schedule can be very, very valuable and very helpful. And you've written a book before, so I don't know how, like, what your schedule was previously, but our Getting Started for Authors program, for example, like the focus of that program is to get people writing on a schedule, even if it's only for an hour a week. So it's a matter of kind of fitting to what works best for you. So it helps you with accountability, but you're also setting realistic expectations because what a lot of times will happen when I'm actively working on a book, I will write every morning. Usually, like the first thing I do in the morning is, typically like 8 to 9. After my son's at school, like that's what I would do if I'm actively writing. I am working on 2 books currently, but they're not high priorities at the moment. So it's just kind of like you just said, it was random because you had a company run. Same. But when we look, Ingram Spark, that's Pam. Pam, I'm sorry. Ingram Spark was, thank you, Ange. You're amazing. Yes, Pam, Ingram Spark was the other link I was mentioning to you at the very beginning of this. Okay, so back to Jill. So what I would do is, so I personally would write Monday through Thursday from 8 to 9 just to get into the habit. Like this is just what worked for me. And then on Fridays, I would also work at 8, but I wouldn't schedule any calls until like 11 or 12. Because what I found organically is that on Fridays, for whatever unknown reason, I had way more energy to be writing. And so I just felt like I was in flow better. And so that was what worked for me. Now, if I told you, Jill, to write from Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 or 8 to noon on a Friday, you'd be like, that's not going to work in my schedule. That just doesn't work. So you have to look at what works for you. But I would plan like at least a day a week. And even if it's just an hour, like just look at it. And Jill, in the author lab, so in the Facebook group on, I don't know what day it was. It's in the guide section. The videos all get taken down tomorrow, actually. But there's a session that talks about word count. I would look at your word count. So Jill, your current book, I want to say, I can't remember the exact number, but I want to say it was like 20 or 22,000 words. I would basically take your goal for this next one, say it's 20,000 words, say you want to get this written over 10 weeks, 20,000 divided by 10 weeks, boom, you got to write 2,000 words per week. How many words can you get written in that, maybe it's an hour block, maybe you can get 1,000 words written in an hour. You really just have to block out 2 hours a week to get over 10 weeks to get your really shitty first draft done. And then once you have that shitty first draft done, you can kind of go back through and polish. and then it'll be ready for editing. So it doesn't have to be a super complicated thing. And math is by far not my superpower. However, when we just break this down into fundamental parts of just very simple math, it can really make this so much easier. So, I think just kind of starting at that, uh, I would start at 20,000 because I think your book, Jill, is a perfect size. I was actually telling somebody about your book this morning on a call. Parlay, thank you. Have a blessed rest of your week. Yes, of course. It was nice to see you. I'm glad you're out of Facebook jail. Please come back. I will definitely be doing more of these. Don't you worry. And they are on YouTube now as well. So if you are in Facebook jail, you can switch over to YouTube. Let's see. What? And hopefully, Pam, you were able to. I know that's not the ideal way, is like handwriting down a link from an image on a video, but hopefully that works for right now. That's like one of the downsides with being split between Facebook and YouTube is that I can't comment in one location. You have to like manually go in. Yeah, just a little glitch, but it still works. So Jill, does that help kind of think this through? I also have, let me see if I can pull this up in an efficient fashion. I may not be able to, but let's try. I have a 30-day writing challenge that I will happily put in the comments. So for those on YouTube, it's going to take me a minute to get it over to YouTube. But it's a 30-day writing challenge. And what it does, and the goal of it was to really motivate people in the beginning of the pandemic to just spend, to write 1,100 words a day, which might sound completely unrealistic at this point, and that's fine. But the goal was to write a 33,000 word manuscript over the course of 30 days. So I found it. Okay, good. All right, I'm going to put this in the comments. So Facebook should be able to get this. Oops, it's missing a piece of the link. It's 30 days of videos. All right. Oh wait, that came out on YouTube and not on Facebook. Weird. Okay, hold on. Let me put it in Facebook now too. Okay. If you click on that link, it will bring you to a page. All you need to do is put your email address in, and it will deliver you 30 days of tips for how to get your book written. So the premise of it is a challenge. You can ignore the challenge part. Also ignore my hair. Short hair doesn't fare well in a pandemic, for the record. So it's just 30 days of tips, and they're not writing tips of like grammar related. They are how to trick our minds to do what we need them to do that we don't know that we need it to do. So it's things like, writing your introduction last. A lot of times we go into writing a book and we think we have to start with the introduction. Wrong. Do not start with the introduction, because what you think you're going to write and what you actually end up writing can be wildly different. So you might want to consider just hopping on those. It'll send you one video a day. The videos are usually 10 minutes or less. Sometimes they're a little bit more, because it takes a little bit more to explain, but most of them are 10 minutes or less. And it's just things like, turn off the spell check, for example, and why that can be beneficial, or turn off the grammar and why that can be beneficial. Timing yourself to see how fast you can get your writing done. There's a lot of really different and nuanced tips in there. So hopefully that will help anybody who is struggling with getting this routine in place. But Jill, keep me posted, and I'll see you hopefully on. Not sure when the next office hours is. It's got to be next week, I would imagine. Maybe, I don't even know. It's coming up soon, so we can certainly dive into it more on the next office hours if you want to hop on and join me there. All right, so it looks like, Pam, you got what you needed. You have some links to review. Jill, we covered BookFunnel and writing processes. And it looks like you are going to get yourself situated with GCLS. And Parlay already dropped off and is out of Facebook jail, which is fantastic. And Marita, I don't know if Marita feels like you received any more help as we were talking about kind of your lessons learned in your writing, but hopefully that helps too. It's kind of crazy how fast 30 minutes goes. And as always, I think we all know this, I am always over time. So I'm glad that you're still here, but I'm going to bid you all adieu for the day. Hopefully this is helpful. I will be posting, maybe I'll do that in a couple of minutes, post when the next one of these I will host. It's going to be hopefully next week sometime, if not the following week. So I'll post that in there now. So, and just remember, it will be on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you are not subscribed to us on YouTube, you're welcome to go over there. Whatever's honestly the easiest for you to be able to access this information. All right. And if anyone has any things that they need, you are always welcome to contact me via email. The email, there's a contact page on the PYP website. I am hesitant to post it in a public form, especially on a YouTube channel, because that just opens the door for spam in every direction. So just head on over there. All of the emails end up funneling to me eventually anyway. So if you have any questions, just shoot us a note over there and we can happily guide you. I have a ton of resources to share. So if there's something that you're struggling with in particular, I can guide you in the right direction. All right, this has been a great. I feel like it's a conversation, even though it's me chatting for 40 minutes to myself, but it feels like a good conversation. So I hope you got what you needed, and I look forward to seeing those who are here today next time, and then maybe some new folks as well. And if you're watching on replay, as I mentioned before, and you have a question, just tag me in it, ask your question, and I will certainly respond in the comments. All right, have a